between Boris Johnson asking donors to pay for wallpaper and Labour MPs asking donors to pay for holidays and clothes.
Well, if I remember correctly, there were issues around the transparency of those donations that weren't properly declared at the time. But let me give you an example of something that I'll be announcing.
Angela Rayner did not mention transparency in that tweet. Angela Rayner specifically said, you're telling working class people to rely on their own efforts while you go round with a begging bowl to donors when you can't survive on your salary. That's disgusting. Nothing about transparency or declarations. What is different when Labour MPs do it to when Tory MPs do it?
Well, we're now in government and we know that different rules apply and we have to hold ourselves to the highest standards when we are making decisions both around tax and spending, but also where we're making decisions, and so any issues of conflicts of interest are even more important.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like someone who's been caught with their hand in the cookie jar, who cannot come up with a really good reason as to why their hand has been caught in the cookie jar, all whilst pointing the finger at their friend who has been doing exactly the same thing under the guise that they wouldn't do that same thing when they get into office. And I love Susan Reid because she obviously challenges and she pushes back in this segment right here. And I wouldn't normally make this video, but I do think this is something that is worthwhile speaking about, because the truth is, in a few weeks' time, we're going to see sweeping tax rises in this country. And it's going to have an impact on our personal finances. It's going to have an impact on the lives that we lead. And dare I even say, the quality of the lives that we lead. And so I just want to share my thoughts. And I want you to share your thoughts in the comment section as well. Because I'm not shocked. Are you shocked? Are you shocked, honestly, in 2024, that this is how our political system works? Are you shocked that you had a party calling the kettle black whilst doing the same thing when they get into office, knowing that this is normal operating procedure in the UK within our political parties and our political system? It's like saying something doesn't happen or something doesn't exist when you clearly know that it does and it's something that you indulge in. But because you think that the general public are going to be stupid, you make it out to be this political point that you use to sow distrust in a party, but I wouldn't say reluctantly and unknowingly doing it knowing that the distrust that you're planting and you're seeding will also impact you, or could impact you, although they would have hoped that it didn't. It's really, really frustrating to watch. But again, I'm not surprised. Are you surprised? I'm not. My concern is this. Our closest ally, when we look at the geopolitical sphere, is America. And America is heavily influenced by donations, lobbyists, outside interests that donate money to government to shape policy. And even when you start looking at things like gun crime in the US, you can see the impact of money from the NRA and how it shapes policy in the US. And my fear is we're going to get to the same point here in the UK. Because at the end of the day, whether you're getting Taylor Swift tickets, Arsenal season tickets, or whether you're having your wardrobe paid for to the tune of thousands of pounds, by the way, there is always a quid pro quo. There is always, I gave you this, so I expect this. There's always influence that's being bought by freebies, by money. And I think that's the danger that we face right now. Because with everything that's going to come down the pipe in a few weeks' time with the tax changes and winter fuel payments, how are these people expected to do the right thing when you're taking donations from wealthy, powerful people? Nothing comes for free. There was something that I really want to acknowledge in this video. And this is an article from Navarro Media, and I'm going to take out a section of this and read this to you in a moment. But I think it makes a really strong point, and one that we, as a nation, as a populace, need to be aware of moving forward, okay? And I'm going to read this segment to you. It says, look at it this way. Big business and millionaires handing out freebies is part of a wider strategy of the wealthy to shape public policy. It sits alongside the fact that lobbying agencies are being allowed to second their staff to the offices of shadow cabinet ministers to draft policy and shape the agenda of the government to be on behalf of unnamed clients, whilst learning who's who and how to influence them. Nothing is for free. And this is actively happening right now as we speak. Literally, as we speak. And the issue that I have here is I'm a big advocate for social mobility. I think social mobility is one of the reasons why we have a lost generation, a generation who feel like they're being left behind, who feel like they don't have any opportunities, who feel like everything is working against them. And there are numerous reasons for this. But when you have lobbyists in government seconding staff to shape public policy, and these are essentially lobbyists that are at the direction of multimillionaires and very wealthy people, they're only going to be looking after their own interests as wealthy people. Their interest is not the well-being or the progression of the middle class or low-income households. They are looking of ways to increase their wealth and improve their own personal situation. So I guess the real question is, should donations of any kind be allowed in our political system? I think no. What do you think? I'd love to know in the comment section. But more importantly, we are a personal finance channel. We talk about money here, which is why it's called Conversation of Money. I do want to basically just drive home a couple of points that I think are really, really important that I've been trying to make over the past 4 years that I've been doing this now. In a few weeks' time, we're going to see some changes. It's going to squeeze your income. It's going to squeeze your quality of life, the things that you're going to be able to do, the decisions that you're going to be able to make. And so I think it's really important to take charge of our own personal finances. And let me just give you a few things right now. One of the things that households in the UK have done is we have built our lifestyles on debt. If you are carrying debt right now that is expensive, now is the time for you to start looking at opportunities, ways under which you can reduce that debt liability. And I'm not talking IVAs and bankruptcies here. I'm talking about if you've got a shed load of credit cards, 0% balance transfers, consolidations, either onto a loan, if you can onto a mortgage, to reduce your monthly outgoings. It's something that I used to do for clients when I was advising. I don't necessarily do that from an advice point of view right now. I do that as coaching. If you need help, book a call with me. But I do think it is one of the main priorities because now disposable income is going to be king. You need to make sure that you have enough disposable income to be able to deal with potential pressures that might be coming down the line. I spoke about the fact that inflation at this point in time is still at 2.2%, but it's expected to go up to 2.5%. And because core inflation is so sticky, we might get into a situation in 2025 where inflation ticks up and interest rates then need to go up as part of fiscal policy. It is possible. I'm not saying it will happen, but it is a possibility. We need to be prepared for those kind of eventualities, worst case scenarios. And unfortunately, I think as a nation, we're not very good at planning for worst case scenarios. So what I'm trying to say in closing this video is this. Please take the time to figure out what the risk to your personal finances, your world is right now from a financial point of view, because money is a really big source of problems for households in the UK. Money is one of the leading reasons for divorce in families. Financial pressure. Financial pressure also leads to all kinds of mental health issues, anxiety, depression. It is documented. It is not going to get any easier moving forward. And meanwhile, whilst Labour and all the politicians may be accepting freebies and having a great time at the Taylor Swift concert and thinking about how we're going to move this country forward, and that includes tax rises, they're doing that from the comfort of their own security. Where is your security? It's what I want to finish this video on. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But as always, Thank you so much for watching.